Hey everybody, welcome to day 10 of my challenge. I decided to try and use a mic this time. I'm hoping that the sound's a little better. I've been told that sometimes the sound is a little off from the video, so here's to hoping this helps. So today's talk, actually, I wanted to talk a little bit about greens and salads. Everybody, when they think of a salad, the majority of people anyway, I shouldn't say everybody, assumes that a green is the same across the board, that iceberg lettuce and spinach and kale and mixed field greens and arugula and all the other types of greens, they're all just greens and they're all good for you. Technically, yes, they are all greens and they're all good for you, but they're not even remotely alike. So I wanted to go through the different types of greens and kind of how they rank on the nutrition scale. So the least nutritious green that you can get, which you will find a lot on like hamburgers, you'll find a lot on cheap salads that you buy in the store or sometimes restaurants because it's very easy, accessible, and easy to chop up and to keep for a long period of time. They tend to use it. Iceberg lettuce, you get it in a head, about this big usually. There's nothing wrong with iceberg lettuce per se. It really just doesn't have a lot of mineral content in it. It's more, I think it's like 90% water or something like that. There's very little nutritional content in it. So if you're going to be eating a salad, you're pretty much just eating water, and you might as well just drink water. Not that I'm not encouraging people to eat that. If that's the only salad that you're getting, it's better than not getting any, but it's not the best choice on salads. So the next one I'll talk about is field greens or mixed greens or something that you buy in usually a box. There's a couple of different colors in there. There is some nutritional content in certain ones of those. So it is higher than an iceberg lettuce. It is a better choice, but it's still not, doesn't really rank that high on a nutritional scale. Again, a lot of water content, but the darker greens that are in it do have a fair amount, and usually those mixed greens tend to have a little bit of spinach or something like that in there too, which has lots of nutritional content. So it's a better decision if you have to make a decision between an iceberg salad and a field greens or mixed greens or whatever it's labeled. I would choose the darker one. Actually, as a rule of thumb, always choose the darker green, because the darker green or the darker the color is almost always, for lettuce purposes, going to be more healthy and more beneficial and have tons more vitamins and minerals than the greens that are lighter. The next that I wanted to talk about really quickly is for those that know what it is, arugula. They're the little rocket-shaped greens they're only about this big, but you get a big amount of them, and they taste almost peppery. They're very good. You get them in a lot of specialty salads and things like that, and sometimes they're in the mixed greens as well. They're awesome. They taste great. There's really no nutritional content in them either, other than they're really tasty, and it's got some fiber in it, and it definitely has a little bit of chlorophyll in it, so that's good, but it's not really ranks high on the nutritional scale. So the next one that I thought would be nice to talk about, because the other one that I think most people would be familiar with. Most people, even if they're not big salad people, know of iceberg versus romaine. And romaine lettuce is the one that everybody's going to be like, oh, it's the kind that's used in Caesar salad. Correct. That is what traditionally it's used for. But it's used for so many other things. And actually, one of the tricks that I've heard a lot of people who know about their salad greens say is if you go to a restaurant, ask them and you're ordering a salad or a side salad or whatever, ask them what kind of greens it is. Usually they'll tell you if it's a mixed green or an iceberg or a romaine lettuce or whatever, and ask if you can have a garden salad with romaine instead of iceberg. Romaine is fantastic. There's a ton of nutritional content in it. It's very light tasting, so those that don't like the heavy greens, romaine is a really good choice, and you don't just have to have it with Caesar salad. You can have it with any kind of salad dressing. It still tastes good. I have in my salads, I tend to have one head of like romaine like every day. Or if you're somebody who juices or makes smoothies, romaine has a lot of nutritional content and not a lot of taste to it. So it's easy to put into a smoothie without having like that really strong bitter taste of I just put a whole bunch of greens into my smoothie. And then the last two that I definitely want to mention is spinach and kale. And I'm going to use them simultaneously because they both do have slightly different nutritional content, qualities. Both of kale is definitely the better option. The darker the kale, the better. But spinach in itself is amazing for your body. It's high in iron content. It has so many different vitamins in it. It is very easy for your body to digest. It has a lovely flavor to it. As I said, a lot of mixed greens also have spinach. And sometimes I'll take a little spinach and I'll put it with my romaine lettuce when I have a salad too, just so I can get that extra kick of iron and things like that. Spinach is always an excellent choice. I usually also tend to have a big bucket of organic spinach in my house that's already prepared and cut up and everything already. Either I've done myself or I was lazy and bought it that way. So that literally for my smoothies in the morning, I take a handful of romaine lettuce and plop into my smoothie. So it's super easily accessible, tastes decent in a smoothie. You will taste it a little bit more than you would a romaine lettuce, but very, very good for you. And a lot of people like spinach too. So kale, I think to a certain extent it's an acquired taste, because I know a lot of people who say that they've tried kale and they hated it. But most people, when they think kale, they think this big, thick, dry leaf that is very hard to eat, unless you're apparently my nieces who like to sit there with little chunks of raw kale and just eat it like a popsicle. I don't understand that. I don't even do that. So, but hey, if they really are wanting that, I am 100% power to them for doing that. But there's so many different ways to enjoy kale that it's tough to say just one. A lot of people will do what's called a massaged kale, which sounds kind of funny. But if you take kale and you cut it up the way that you would normally for a salad, and you put a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of some sort of acid, so lemon juice or balsamic vinegar, usually I just squeeze half a lemon into it, and a little bit of salt for the grittiness, and get your hands in there and massage this kale. I know it sounds funny. You're going to get your hands all dirty and you're going to feel a little ridiculous. But the nice thing is, one, it compresses. Like if I had, I'm trying to think of a size to show you, but if I had a really big bowl of kale and I did a massaged kale salad, it's going to go down to like probably half, if not a little bit less than half of what it was when you started. The color slightly changes. It turns a much more vivid green, and it also ends up tasting sweeter. It tastes lighter and it tastes sweeter. So a lot of people who say they don't like kale may have not tried a massaged kale salad. So it's something to try if you've never had it before. And the nice thing is kale grows like a weed, like literally grows like a weed. So if you ever have a garden in the summer, it doesn't require really much effort and you can grow mountains and mountains of kale. Kale you can put in smoothies too, however it is a little bit stronger. My favorite way for kale tends to be kale chips, which you saw the other day. You can do them in the oven too. I'll post a recipe too for kale chips. Mind you, they're super easy. Literally, you just cut them up in small pieces and put a little bit of olive oil. Sometimes I'll sprinkle a little salt. Some people will sprinkle different things. My naturopath is huge on putting cumin on them. I haven't even tried that yet. Sounds tasty to me. Kind of the same sort of seasonings and stuff you would want to put on popcorn. So I think like salt and stuff, but or a little bit of garlic powder and onion powder on it. Tastes lovely. Pop it in the oven. 10 minutes one side, flip 10 minutes the other side. Watch it very carefully at like probably about 300 degrees, 350. You want them to be nice and dry and crispy without burning, which is careful. But dehydrators, excellent. You leave them in there for a couple hours, they're perfect. So that's my way to enjoy kale, because I know the nutritional benefits in it. So even if I don't feel like sitting and eating a really heavy kale salad, I have ways that I'll sit and munch and still get that nutritional content. So if you're eating a salad and you're new to kind of the weird, strong lettuces that people don't usually have, my recommendations would be romaine. Always choose romaine over an iceberg, and stick some spinach in there because everyone can use the extra little bit of mineral content that's in spinach because it's fantastic for you. Awesome. That's my little rant for today. If anybody has any questions, you know how to reach me, and stay positive, my friends. Bye.